In our last talk, we explored suffering. We saw that much of what troubles us doesn't come directly from life, but from the stories the mind creates about life. This talk turns towards something quieter, something most of us spend years chasing without ever really understanding. Happiness. Because happiness fades. It rises and falls with circumstance. Peace does something very different. Peace can remain even when circumstances change. Let's continue. What if the thing we've spent most of our lives chasing was never the thing we were truly longing for? Most of us grow up believing happiness is the destination, the finish line, the reward. So naturally, we spend years pursuing it. The next achievement, the next experience, the next moment that promises, now I've arrived. And for a while, it works. Happiness feels wonderful. It fills us with energy, excitement, wonder. It reminds us how beautiful life can be. But it never stays. And perhaps it was never meant to. What if happiness is only a reflection, while peace is the source? Because happiness and peace are not the same experience. They don't arise from the same place, and they don't transform us in the same way. The older I become, the more obvious this difference feels. When we're young, we naturally chase happiness, adventure, achievement, possibility. Life is full of first experiences, and happiness arrives often, bright, powerful, unforgettable. But like fireworks, it fades almost as quickly as it happens. It lifts the moment, but it doesn't always lift the person. Eventually, many of us begin longing for something quieter, something steadier, something that doesn't disappear the moment circumstances change. If you look closely, happiness and peace do have one thing in common. Both can only ever be experienced now, but they arise from very different places. Happiness is the mind's response to the world around us, to success, pleasure, achievement, praise. Peace is something deeper. It appears when awareness is no longer struggling with the present moment. The simplest way I've found to describe it is this. Happiness is a gust of wind filling the sail. Peace is the current beneath the boat. The gust is exhilarating. It moves us quickly. It fills us with excitement. But it never lasts. The current is different. Quiet, steady, almost invisible. Yet it is the current, not the gust, that carries us across the ocean. And the older we become, the more we begin to recognize that it has been carrying us all along. When we're young, it's easy to mistake the gust for the journey itself. We choose one moment after another, believing enough happiness will eventually become lasting fulfillment. But happiness belongs to the senses, and everything connected to the senses changes. That is their nature. Happiness is beautiful, but it is temporary. The moment we begin trying to hold on to it, it quietly changes into something else. Wanting, craving, attachment. And without noticing, the search for happiness becomes another source of suffering. Not because happiness is wrong, but because we were never meant to build our lives upon something that was designed to come and go. Peace is different. Peace doesn't arrive with excitement. It doesn't depend on circumstances. It doesn't ask the world to behave a certain way. Peace appears when the mind gradually stops resisting what already is. It arrives quietly, sometimes through age, sometimes through suffering, sometimes through awakening, and sometimes through nothing more dramatic than sitting still long enough to notice it. Peace is not something we achieve. It is something we uncover. The more the filter begins to thin, the more naturally peace appears. The more the self steps away from the center, the easier peace becomes. Not because life has become easier, but because we are no longer asking life to complete us. Peace asks nothing from the world. It simply rests in the present moment. That is why I don't think happiness is the destination. Happiness belongs to beautiful moments. Peace belongs to an entire way of being. People often speak about happiness following a U-shaped curve, bright in youth, more difficult through the middle life, then somehow brighter again in old age. I wonder if what returns isn't happiness at all. Perhaps what returns is peace. It can feel similar. The mind is quieter. The self is softened. The urgency to become someone begins to fall away. Life is no longer measured by what we have achieved, but by how deeply we have learned to be present. Happiness excites the senses. Peace quietens the soul. Happiness is loud. Peace whispers. Happiness comes and goes. Peace remains. Looking back over my own life, I think the first half was largely about becoming happy. The second half has become about becoming peaceful. And I've come to believe that this is not a coincidence. Perhaps happiness helps us engage the world, but peace helps us understand it. Perhaps happiness belongs to experience, but peace belongs to consciousness. The more awareness expands, the less we depend upon the world to tell us we are enough. Peace quietly begins to tell us that itself. What if peace has been there all along, waiting patiently beneath every ambition, every achievement, every disappointment, every fear? Not hidden from us, only hidden by the noise of the thinking mind. Perhaps that is why turning inward changes everything. Not because we discover something new, but because we finally notice what has always been present. And so where does that leave us? Right here, in this breath, in this moment, in this quiet awareness that has been with us through every joy, every sorrow, every success, every loss. Perhaps peace has never lived in the next achievement, or the next relationship, or the next version of ourselves. Perhaps it has always lived exactly where we are, waiting for us to stop searching long enough to recognize it. And maybe this is the real discovery. Happiness changes the moment. Peace changes the one who is living it.